Mike, and understanding how important those quick starts are. In games that you've had this year where you guys have had those great starts, can you take anything from those for this next game, and what do you think that needs to look like?
I think it starts with our, our pace and intensity on both ends, how fast we play, how together we play. We don't resort to too many ISOs early. We resort to just swinging the ball, moving the ball, let our defense kind of dictate the momentum of the game, and everybody's kind of eating at that time. So hopefully we can find that early in the first quarter of this game.
And when Luka's been so good in those first quarters, what is it when you're going up against a player like him that are there small things you can do to adjust to him, or what is kind of the thought going against him, especially trying to slow him down in the first?
Yeah, obviously it's super tough to guard somebody like that. One is trying to keep him off the free throw line. I think we've done a kind of a poor job of fouling. He might pick his dribble up and pump fake a couple times, and then he'll get you on the third pump fake. So we have to be disciplined, really disciplined when guarding him early in games, just to kind of not let him get any freebies, so to speak, because he's going to play a lot of minutes. He's going to be on the court a lot, and we don't want his first quarters to get him into a great rhythm.
Mike, have you been able to put your finger on the home kind of struggles, or I don't know if it's struggles, but this team seems to play better on the road sometimes than home, especially in the playoffs last year. Just like what the importance of being able to come out high energy tomorrow and get that.
Yeah, well, I hadn't really even thought about it until you said it, but I think that we do have to establish a home court in these playoffs, especially against teams like the Lakers, who they bring in a bunch of fans, just being the Lakers. So we have to, use our fans as momentum and the atmosphere to push us forward and create an identity that gives everybody, something to cheer for and get behind. So I think we're going to do that. I think we're going to have a lot of energy and be ready to go.
Does that go back to talking about like looking up at something and chasing it? Like just it's harder to maybe sometimes generate that feeling when you're at home?
It can be, but I think, for us, we have to, not be too worried about, where we're at. And we're on the road, no distraction. You're just out there trying to, silence a crowd. You need to, at home, we need to find a way to pick up our crowd, like get our crowd involved and, make it a very, very tough and hostile environment, like, teams can be on the road when we go on the road.
So in game one, you guys, after a week of practice, great execution of the offensive game plan, and then 2 days later, this major slippage. Is there a team capable of executing a plan again and again, even if it's not always like the sexiest thing, for 6, 7 straight games?
We have to be. I think we're a team that's, as far as the consistency has come, doing the easy thing can sometimes be the hard thing for us. We just need to continue to do the easy reads, continue to make the quick decisions, and communicating on defense, like the stuff that we ask ourselves to do every single night, every single game. Those are the things we sometimes slip up on. We try to do too much or try to make, overthink, certain things and make it a little bit more difficult than it needs to be. And I think we can just get back to basics and make those easy reads.
What were the big takeaways from their defense as you looked at the last couple of days here, and the ways that you have to attack it better from what they did in game 2?
Initially, it was their physicality, the way they played in the second game. You could tell it was a completely different kind of level they were setting, and so it was not as easy to get in and out of plays and create easy reads for guys. But as far as their gap help and things like that was pretty similar between game 1 and game 2. I thought we just weren't as timely with our reads. We weren't hitting guys early enough. Wasn't getting to a secondary option or a third option as far as driving kick, another guy driving and making another play for a guy. So if we can find those and in a good rhythm, we'll get more quality looks than we had in game 2.
Where does that belief come from, Mike, that you'll have that energy tomorrow night?
If you've ever been in a film session with Finchy, man, after a loss, we'll be motivated. We'll be motivated. We're ready to go. So I have no doubt that our guys are going to be ready.
Mike, you guys were looking back at the film of you guys defensively, and they were clearly targeting Gobert a lot to get him on the switch there, but the numbers were really successful. How are you guys kind of feeling about that through 2 games in this series?
Honestly, Rudy has done a pretty good job of just being on his guy, sliding his feet, being a big presence as far as making him have to make tough shots over him. there comes a point where we still have to be in our shell defense. We can't just rely on him to guard Luka or Reeves or anybody one-on-one. We still have to have low men to help him if he does get beat. I think we get caught in between, letting Rudy be Rudy and, what's our, schemes automatically. So we talked about that today, just still relying on each other to help each other communicate and not put so much on Rudy when he is in that ISO situation.
Mike, Jaden and Anthony seem like they're young players. I guess they still are in my calendar years, but they've been through a lot. Last year, Western Conference Finals. Do you think of yourself as an experienced team right now, and you don't have to mentor as much because of all the young players have been through it at a fairly young age in terms of playoffs?
I feel like we got a mix, a mix of experience and youth, which is still good. I think it's good to have that fire, the unknown a little bit of like, what's it like to play in this type of series as opposed to last year's first round series. They're two different, completely different teams. And so, our team is built the way it's built. Ant's gotten a lot of experience over the last couple of years. He's still learning a lot. Julius as well. But the rest of the guys, Jaden, Nas, they're still young. They're still trying to find their way in these type of moments. And so we're all trying to help each other through it.
Mike, it seemed like the right read, especially last game, was Rudy oftentimes. And he didn't convert in a couple of first quarter possessions. What is the challenge of trying to stay the course and make the right play again and again, even when there's not instant success with it?
Yeah, and that's the challenge that we face a lot is, you go to something 2 or 3 times and it doesn't work, but it is the right read. Do we, pivot and shoot our own shot or find our ISO, whatever it is? And at this moment of the season, you have to continue to just do the right thing. Just try to make the right read. We got to trust each other. Trust big fella, trust us on the perimeter, make shots, because that's the only way that's going to make the game easier on those guys that are, the high usage guys on our team that are going to get a lot of looks and touches.
How are you
Last
handling this
question.
as a vet? You talked to us through the week about a lot of non-negotiables, and game 1 you did some of those, some of these other games you haven't. How are you holding that accountable?
Every moment I can, every moment I think, Joe, any of these older guys on the team see it, we say it. We communicate it immediately. It's not something we wait for the film to say. Like, I need Ant to do something, I tell him right away. Like, we said we're going to do this, we got to do it. If I'm getting back on defense, guarding a big, I need our bigs to run back and help. We need to all be on the same page. So we're tied to the hip right now. Our communication's at all-time high, so we're just going to continue to do that.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.